There will come a moment when your silence speaks louder than any act of revenge. The narcissist, the one who once believed they were always in control, now sits alone, haunted not by what you said, but by what you no longer give. Your voice, your warmth, your empathy, all gone. And in that emptiness, the most terrifying thing happens. They begin to see themselves. The truth is, the narcissist never regretted losing you at first. They only regret losing the mirror that once made them feel powerful, special, untouchable. But time is merciless with illusions. When you rise, heal, and live freely beyond their control, that illusion crumbles. This isn't a story about revenge, it's about transformation. Because when you stop reacting, stop explaining, and let peace become your language, that's when they truly regret losing you. Not because they ever loved you, but because they will never find your light again. Part 1. The Illusion of Power. From the very first moment, the narcissist believed they held complete control, not through chains, but through something far more subtle, emotional power. They know exactly how to make you feel special, how to make you believe this connection is one of a kind, that among billions of people they truly see you. Their gaze is intense, their words are sweet, and their attention feels almost addictive. You mistake it for love, but in reality, it's the opening act of possession. The moment you begin to love them, they begin to measure you. Every compliment, every gentle gesture, every time they say, "I understand you," serves a single purpose: to build their own image through your eyes. They don't love who you truly are, they love the version of themselves reflected in you. The more you believe in them, the more you become the mirror that makes them feel important, worthy, and powerful. And little by little, you start to lose yourself. You change the way you dress, speak, and smile, just to avoid upsetting them. You stay quiet when they rage, you explain when they go silent, you forgive when they betray, and they see all of this as normal. In their world, your emotions are fuel for their ego. When you cry, they feel powerful. When you open your heart, they feel victorious. When you endure, they believe they are the center of a universe you can never escape. A narcissist doesn't love, they possess. They turn love into a stage where they are both the star and the audience, mesmerized by their own performance. You are merely the mirror reflecting their light, until that mirror begins to crack. And they never think that day will come. In their mind, you'll never be strong enough to leave. A text, an apology, a remorseful look. They're convinced that's all it takes to pull you back. To them, you are not a free being, but a small satellite orbiting their gravity forever. But one day, you stop reacting. No more tears, no more arguments, no more desperate reasons to hold on. You simply fall silent. And to them, that silence is a fracture in reality. When you stop reacting, they lose their reflection. No one left to mirror them, to validate, to worship. For the first time in their life, they feel empty, weak, and invisible. That is the beginning of their collapse, when the illusion of power begins to melt away. And in that moment, though they'll never admit it, a tiny seed of regret is planted, quiet, fragile, but destined to grow until it consumes the very ego they once worshipped. Part 2. The Realization. At first they feel no fear. When you go silent, they just smirk. In their mind, you're simply pouting, trying to get attention like before. They're sure you'll come back. After all, you always have. One message, one look, one small memory. That's all it ever took. For years, they've lived with the certainty that you would always be there, waiting, enduring, forgiving. In their world, you never really leave. But this time is different. You disappear for real. No explanations, no anger, no arguments, just complete absence. No more late-night texts, no more tearful conversations. The silence becomes so thick they can hear the echo of their own thoughts. And in that echo, they suddenly face a truth they've been running from all their life. They are empty. For a narcissist, that emptiness is the greatest terror. They've spent their entire existence escaping it through admiration, control, chaos, and replacements. But when you withdraw your energy, the masks begin to fall. Their emotional supply vanishes, and the world around them grows cold and soundless. They try to regain control. A few accidental messages, a shallow apology, small attempts to provoke a reaction. It's not love that drives them, it's fear. Fear that this time you've truly crossed the threshold of no return. Every time you don't reply, they feel more invisible. Every day you remain silent, their ego weakens a little more. And then, something they've never dared to admit begins to surface. They miss you. Not out of love, but out of dependency. They miss the reflection you once provided, the one that made them feel good, deep, and special. The way you looked at them made them believe they were someone worth admiring. Now, without those eyes, all they see is a distorted shadow, cold, unfamiliar, and hollow. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And for the narcissist, this is the moment the light goes out. They finally see themselves not through admiration, but through absolute silence. When you no longer react, they no longer exist in your world, and that realization terrifies them. They begin to see that everything they once believed, that you would always stay, that they could never lose, was just an illusion. The truth stands before them, merciless and undeniable. You are gone, and nothing they do will ever bring you back. And that is the beginning of the regret they will carry for the rest of their lives. Part 3. The Mirror of Regret. As your silence stretches on, something strange begins to happen. No matter how hard they try to forget you, your image keeps slipping into the corners of their mind. A familiar song, a fleeting scent, a stranger's gaze. Everything reminds them of you. They don't understand why, but the memory of you becomes a mirror they can no longer avoid. In that mirror, they start to see everything that once happened. The cold words, the calculated silences, the subtle manipulations they once dismissed as harmless. Now, each memory returns like a small blade, cutting into the illusion of confidence they built for themselves. And for the first time in their life, they feel real shame. But a narcissist doesn't know how to take responsibility. Instead of facing themselves, they run. They rush to find someone new, someone to fill the void you left behind. They laugh. They post photos of happiness. They act like they've moved on, like they've won. But inside, regret begins to quietly corrode the fragments of their soul. The new person isn't you. They don't have your depth, your understanding, or the way your eyes made them feel special. They don't know how to make them feel worthy, and that's when it hits them. What they miss isn't love itself, but the version of themselves that only existed when they were with you. Every time they look at someone new, they see traces of you. A smile that feels familiar, a gentle glance, a phrase that echoes something you once said. It's all an illusion, and yet it pulls them deeper into remembrance. They try to push it away, but your shadow only grows clearer. Like a ghost from their past, you've become the embodiment of everything they destroyed. Then one night, in a dimly lit room, they sit alone. No music, no one beside them, just silence and space. In that stillness, they look into the mirror, and what stares back isn't the proud, charming face they once admired, but tired eyes, lost, hollow, and heavy with guilt. That is the moment true regret begins. No more excuses, no more blame. Just the quiet ache of realizing they destroyed the only person who ever saw their real worth, and stayed anyway. From that moment on, the mirror no longer reflects their false beauty. It shows the naked truth. They didn't just lose someone who loved them. They lost their only chance to become a better human being. Part the first. The obsession. They once believed that time would help them forget you, but time never heals those who refuse to face the truth. The more they deny, the more they rush into new relationships, the deeper your presence haunts them. It's no longer a fleeting memory, it becomes an echo that lingers endlessly in the quiet spaces of their mind. In the morning, when they first wake up, their hand instinctively reaches for their phone. A habit that once began with you. No message, no greeting, just a blank screen reflecting their pale, unfamiliar face. They put the phone down, but a heavy ache rises inside them, an emptiness no one else can fill. At night, when the room sinks into darkness, your image returns. You are no longer the wounded one, no longer the pleading eyes asking them to change. Now, in their mind, you appear calm, radiant, and stronger than ever. They see you smile, and that smile takes their breath away. From then on, the questions begin to creep in. Do you still think about them? Have you truly forgotten? Are you happy without them? And deep down, they already know the answer. Yes, you've let go. You've found peace. And they haven't. That's when karma begins. Not through external tragedy, but through a slow, internal torment. They hear your voice in their head whenever they try to lie. They see your shadow in the eyes of others. They dream of you in their lonely nights. And each time they wake, tears fall without reason. You have become part of their subconscious, an imprint they can never erase. They try to replace you, but no one ever measures up. No one carries your gentleness, your understanding, or your rare ability to see through their chaos. They begin to compare, and that comparison becomes the cruelest form of punishment. The harder they try to forget, the deeper they remember. The more they deny, the clearer you become. And one night they dream of you. You stand in the light, your back turned to them. No anger, no blame, just quiet peace as you walk away. They call your name, but no sound escapes. When they wake, their pillow is wet with tears, and for the first time, they understand what true regret feels like. You didn't need to seek revenge. You didn't need to say a word. Your peace itself has become their nightmare. From that moment on, they know they've lost something priceless. Not a lover, but the one person who once loved them with pure sincerity. Part 1. Your rebirth. After everything, you don't need revenge. You only need transformation. No more tears, no more searching for reasons, no more hoping they'll understand. You've walked through the hell of heartbreak, and it was there, in the darkness, that you found your true light. A light that doesn't come from anyone's validation, but from finally returning to your authentic self, peaceful, grounded, and free. Mornings that once felt dull now carry warmth. You make yourself a cup of coffee, open the window and let the sunlight in. You begin doing the small things you once abandoned, reading, walking, meeting friends, laughing without fear of judgment. You no longer live in constant worry that someone might leave, because now you know. You never truly needed them to exist. When you look in the mirror, you see someone different. It's still you, but your eyes have changed. Deeper, calmer. They're no longer the eyes of someone begging for love from a person incapable of giving it. They're the eyes of someone who has discovered their worth. You realize you become the strongest version of yourself, not out of hatred, but through healing. Somewhere out there, the narcissist may still be watching. Through a picture, a rumor, or a mutual acquaintance. They see you smiling, confident, living a life they once tried to control, and that, more than anything, torments them. Because now they know. Your peace is something they will never possess. You have nothing left to prove. Your silence has become your clearest declaration. You no longer hope they'll regret or return or apologize. You've stepped out of the whirlwind of manipulation, and in that space you stand tall, sovereign, radiant, reborn. In psychology, this is called ego reconstruction, the process of rebuilding the self from the ruins. You set boundaries, you learn to say no, you choose peace over chaos, and you relearn love. But this time, you love yourself first. Then one day you realize you don't think about them anymore. No anger, no longing, only calm acceptance. The storm has passed, and the sky that follows is so breathtaking you can hardly believe you once lived in darkness. And that's when you understand the deepest truth. The real victory was never about making them regret losing you. It was about not needing them anymore. You didn't just survive, you were reborn. And that rebirth itself is the silent sentence of regret they'll carry for the rest of their lives. Part 6. When Karma Returns. There is no thunder to announce it, no dramatic punishment to witness. Karma doesn't arrive through chaos from the outside, it comes quietly, through collapse from within. And for the narcissist, that is the worst nightmare of all, being forced to live inside the very emptiness they once inflicted on others. At first, they still try to appear strong. They walk among crowds, laugh loudly, post pictures of their happy life, but the smile has no weight anymore. Inside, they feel something unfamiliar, a silence they cannot bear. With no one left to blame, no one left to mirror them, they start to hear the hollow echo of their own mind. When you left their life, you didn't just take your love, you took the only light they ever had. No one can replace you. Every new relationship ends in failure. At first, they convince themselves it's always the other person's fault. But after the same story repeats over and over, they begin to see the one common denominator, themselves. And that's when karma begins its quiet work. They start to lose everything that once served as their weapons. Their charm no longer works. Their manipulative words no longer convince anyone. Their fake confidence becomes a heavy, suffocating mask. People begin to see through them, and those eyes no longer hold admiration, but pity. In their quietest moments, they dream of you, not with desire, but with fear. Fear of facing what they once denied, that they destroyed the most beautiful thing that ever happened to them. They remember your eyes, your calm voice, the feeling of being seen without having to perform. But those memories no longer bring comfort. They burn, slow and deep, like an unhealed wound. Time passes, and they keep trying to fill the void with someone else, but every attempt only leads them back to the same truth. They didn't lose you, they lost themselves. In losing the one who truly loved them, they lost their only chance to change, to learn love, to escape the rot of their own ego. That's how karma works, silently but justly. You never need to wish them pain because they already carry their punishment inside. Every time they see you thriving, every time your name comes up, every time they laugh without feeling real joy, karma whispers softly, "This is the price of your cruelty." And in the end, they finally understand. Losing you was not a passing consequence, but a lifelong sentence. Because there is no punishment more bitter than being trapped forever in the emptiness they once made others feel. Part 7. Your peace. In the end, you realize the battle is over, not because they lost, but because you no longer fight. There's nothing left to prove, no wound left that needs their understanding. Every word, every torment, every sleepless why that once consumed you has dissolved into nothingness. All that remains is silence. And within that silence, you find yourself. Peace doesn't arrive overnight, it comes slowly, day by day, as you choose silence over reaction, forgiveness over resentment, and returning inward over running away. Whenever old pain resurfaces, you no longer push it aside, you listen, and through listening you understand that pain was once your greatest teacher, showing you your limits, your worth, and your true strength. As you walk your new path, the light around you has changed. It's no longer the blinding light of fragile hope, but the gentle glow of self-mastery. You smile not to prove that you're okay, but because you truly are. No one has the power to disturb your peace anymore, not even them. While you grow, they remain trapped in their own darkness. They see you from afar, more successful, more confident, more radiant, and in that moment, they understand there's no way back. Every apology is meaningless now, every attempt to reconnect too late. All they can do is stand there, watching your silhouette fade into the light of freedom, realizing they've lost something irreplaceable. But you no longer care. You don't need them to pay because your existence today is the answer. You live, you love, you laugh, you move through the world with quiet grace. And that alone is proof that you've won. Not over them, but over fear, over pain, over the old version of yourself. Perhaps sometimes they still think of you, not with love, but with regret. Yet that no longer concerns you. They belong to the past, while you are the present unfolding, the future blooming ahead. You walk forward gently without looking back, because you know. Your silence has already become the greatest lesson of their life. You don't need them to feel remorse. They will carry it forever. And you carry peace. And that peace is the light they will never be able to touch.